Please note that the Burn It Nutrition podcast is for educational purposes only and is not meant to substitute for the advice of a doctor. Please consult your GP before using any of the techniques or products discussed on this show. Hope you like it.
Welcome to episode 22 of the Burn It Nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Navarro. In today's show, we will learn how to apply a low-carb keto lifestyle on a budget. We will dive into practical tips and strategies to save you thousands. And to end this show full of key takeaways, we will learn the bare essentials to make a low-carb keto lifestyle attainable, even when you're trying to keep the lights on. But first, let's hear from our sponsors. If you feel you aren't seeing any progress towards your goals and you want to know exactly what you need to do to achieve a body transformation and get the body you've always wanted in a healthy, effective, and sustainable plan, then download your copy of 5th Stage Keto. This will walk you through the stages to break past those weight loss plateaus and see the biggest changes in body composition. Plus, what makes 5th Stage Keto so great is that you get the audiobook version as well as the ebook version. 5th Stage Keto will teach you to address the biggest factors needed to see progress, gathering all the science of weight loss in one super entertaining audiobook that's unlike any other that you have ever heard. Just go to burnitnutrition.com and use coupon code BURNIT to get a bonus $5 off at checkout. Again, that is burnitnutrition.com to get this powerful body transformation plan. For some time now, I've been looking for a great pre-workout to include with my exogenous ketones. Well, Perfect Keto just solved this issue. They just released their newest blend, introducing Perfect Keto Perform. Perfect Keto Perform packs 7.7 grams of actual beta-hydroxybutyrate, plus 5 grams of MCT with BCAAs, creatine, L-citrulline, beta-alanine, and a bit of caffeine from green tea, so you can boost your ketone levels and crush your workouts. And Perfect Keto has partnered with us to get you an additional 15% off with the discount code BURNIT. So head over to perfectketo.com and use discount code BURNIT to save you a bonus 15% off at checkout. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook under Burn It Nutrition to see some of my before and after pictures, the yummy keto foods I make, and to see how the voice behind the mic stays healthy and active. Plus, head over to burnitnutrition.com to sign up for the newsletter, which gets you a free low-carb keto food guide with all that you can and cannot have on this upgraded lifestyle. And make sure to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. I'm so glad to have you with us today. Now, let's start the show.
Burn it. You are not alone as you begin this new stage of life. Learn the strategic methods to reach your goals and flourish the light within. With our guidance, you will uncover the hidden truths that have been missing from your understanding. It's time to let it burn.
The author, Greg Reed, once said, "A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. And a plan, backed by action, makes your dreams come true." These are words that can be applied in today's episode. You see, today, we are diving into the importance of planning ahead to sustain a diet while on a budget. We are going to cover the importance of setting up a game plan and a budget to make this low-carb keto lifestyle sustainable. You see, this is important because many feel that eating healthy and putting nutrition as a priority in your life is only for those with big bank accounts. Well, plain and simple, this is just not the case. The reality is that the keto lifestyle can be very affordable and applicable to most of us. It just takes one to put on their smarty pants and learn how to apply this lifestyle on a budget. And to do this correctly, it's important to build up a mindset that allows you to make smart choices with your money. And so it is helpful to ask yourself this next question before making any purchase when on a budget. Ask yourself, do I really need this in my life? Is this purchase an absolute necessity, or is it just something I want? In actuality, this is a question that all should be asking themselves whether you're on a budget or not. Ask yourself, are these new shoes under the needs list, or are they just something I want? Well, if times are tough and you are not fully convinced it's a real necessity, then maybe it's smart to hold off on that purchase for another time. This is where your mental strength comes into play. You see, we all like to rationalize our wants in efforts to convince ourselves that they are real needs, but oftentimes they are not. Those new shoes, expensive watches, or fancy cars are not actually needed, but we like to rationalize it in our thoughts to make us believe we need them, often just using them to fill a void or to bring immediate gratification. So ask yourself, is this purchase bringing value into my life? Does it fill a very real need? If it does, then okay, budget that in, but if it doesn't, then use your mental strength to walk away. Now, this list of needs for everyday life can be things like filling up gas to get to work, but other times these needs can be very different. You see, it's okay to make an executive decision with certain purchases and place them on the needs list, when most would say they are not needed. Items that are not essential for survival, but still needed because they can bring value into your life in the form of knowledge. For example, deciding to invest in yourself by purchasing an audiobook or purchasing a self-help course. These are not essential needs exactly, but the value they bring can improve your overall life more than any other material purchase can. Thus, it's okay to consider these essential needs since they can bring out a better version of each of us. Now, the problem arises when you're on a budget and you find value in things like name brand goods just because of the brand instead of what it does for you. If money is tight, but you are willing to pay hundreds of dollars for a handbag just because of the brand name, then that's a big problem. These are just filling a void that are not actually making you better. But hey, if you're swimming in cash and this is something you like to splurge on, then fine. But understand that this is not a need, it's a want. But for the rest of us who are on a budget, then it's time to let go of this mentality. For us that are on a budget, let's be smart and cut out the clutter and junk from our lives. Don't look to material possessions or temporary pleasures as ways to fill a gap in your life. These will only bring temporary happiness that will eventually fade, which will make you have to do it again and again, leaving you broke and right back to where you started. And yes, I know that talking about budgeting our money is not something we love to hear, but this is a very important topic to address, and well, if we want to become successful members of society, then learning a bit about it will be very beneficial. So in today's episode, we will cover practical tips that can be applied to make this upgraded lifestyle sustainable for those of us who are trying to feed the whole family and still keep the lights on. Let's dive into this key factor to long-term financial success to help make a temporary diet into a long-term lifestyle. It's time to feed our brains the knowledge they desire. And since this is the Burn It Nutrition podcast, we'll be doing this with the use of sounds and personal stories to make learning into a fun and entertaining experience, in hopes of motivating you to continue progressing and putting fitness and nutrition as a priority in your life. So if we're going to address eating healthy on a budget, we need to start with the most common concern many have, and that is whether to hand over the cash to buy everything organic and grass-fed. Trust me, I understand that organic veggies have less pesticides, and grass-fed meats have a better ratio of omega-3 to 6 fats, and that free-range eggs have higher levels of nutrients. But again, not everyone can afford these options. So remind yourself of this saying, don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. This holds merit here. Yes, I firmly believe getting your veggies organic and choosing grass-fed meats is ideal and a great idea to improve overall health. But in the real world, paying that extra cost for organic and grass-fed isn't always feasible. We all have bills to pay, and well, sometimes going all organic isn't something we can budget in, which is okay. You see, it's important to see the bigger picture when switching into a low-carb keto lifestyle. What is the bigger picture? Well, let me explain. So if one of my clients is going from a standard American diet, eating fake packaged foods, TV dinners, sugary cereals, and fast food, then a switch to a lower carb keto lifestyle that includes real food is a huge step in the right direction. Personally, I would never shame someone for going keto but not buying all organic and grass-fed. Hey, maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they are struggling to pay the rent, and well, spending extra to buy organic wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't wave the finger of shame at them for not being hardcore. No, sir. I would instead celebrate that they are seeing the big picture on what they should be going for when grocery shopping. I would applaud that they are choosing real food with higher healthy fats and removing the highly processed carbs. That is what should be celebrated. Yes, going organic and grass-fed is smart, but if you're just starting out and if you're on a budget, then don't stress about having to choose between organic foods or paying the rent. Pay the rent and just keto on. And as you progress in your journey to health and have gotten a firm foundation with the keto lifestyle, then you can make the switch to go organic if you'd like. In my audiobook, 5th Stage Keto, I actually cover the veggies that have the highest levels of pesticides. That way you know which veggies are worth going organic. And you can get your copy at burnitnutrition.com. But again, just to be clear, if you're switching from a standard American diet where all you're eating is junk food like chips, sodas, fast food, TV dinners, and so on, then leaving that behind to reach for whole food like vegetables, meats, eggs, actual food with one ingredient, even if it's not organic, is okay. This is a step in the right direction that will get you closer to an upgraded version of you. So now that we got that out of the way, let's dive into some of the practical ways to make the keto lifestyle applicable even if you're on a tight budget. And being a smart shopper starts before you even walk into the grocery store. You see, it's smart to have a game plan when entering the store. And so it's a good idea to look inside your refrigerator and pantry and take an inventory of what you already have. That way you don't end up buying more of something you already have plenty of. Then you will make your list of the items that you do need and head to the store. Now, one trick to ensure you stick to that list may push you outside of your comfort zone, and that is to only use cash when doing your grocery shopping. Let me explain. Using only cash to pay for your grocery list will ensure that you stick to it, since you only should bring enough cash for the actual items that you need, forcing you to avoid any impulse purchases and making you leave behind any items that you may want but don't actually need. You see, credit and debit cards trick our minds. The simplicity of swiping a plastic card makes spending much easier. This simplicity makes for a slippery slope to excessive spending. But when you have actual cash to pay for your list should make you better analyze a purchase. So plan ahead, take inventory of your pantry, and see what should go on the list. Then estimate the cash needed to pay for it, and make sure to stick to the list. Quick side note, it's probably smart to do your shopping without the kids. As we all know, kids love to add things to the grocery cart. I know I did growing up, and I was very sneaky about it. I would quietly place a candy bar or Hot Wheels toy when my parents weren't watching. Doing this was my own version of Mission Impossible. I thought I was so sneaky. Yes, they noticed while checking out, but by then it was much harder for them to say no. Yeah, I was a smart kid. Well, if you're on a tight budget, then heading to the grocery store without the kids would be smart and much faster. Let's move on. Another smart tip for when you're on a budget is to buy things in bulk. This is smart if you have large families or doing meal prep for the week. And this is where having a Costco membership can help. Or even better, a Thrive Market membership. If you haven't heard, Thrive Market is the online store that makes it easy to get everything you need in one place, all delivered conveniently to your doorstep with free shipping. They offer quality food brands that you would find at health food store, but at wholesale prices, some around 25 to 50% off. It's kind of like Costco meets Whole Foods, but online. And what's really cool is that for every paid membership, Thrive donates another membership to a low-income family, helping others that are on a budget. And they partnered with us to give you a free 1-month trial, as well as 25% off your first order. So if you want to check it out, head over to thrivemarket.com/burnit to see what you like. Now, while it's a good idea to buy in bulk, this is only smart if you're actually going to use the things you bought. You see, often some buy large quantities of, let's say, broccoli, and for whatever reason they never get around to eating them, and they go bad. So instead of this person saving cash for buying in bulk, they instead wasted a whole bunch of food. Food waste is a very real problem in the United States. It's estimated that an average household can waste up to 25 to 40% of the food they purchase. And when you consider how many people in the world are starving, then we should really make an effort to avoid this from happening. So if you're buying in bulk and noticing that you're constantly throwing things out, then maybe buying in bulk doesn't work for you. Instead, make trips to the store more often and only buy what you really need for the week to come. Now, moving on. It's also smart to reduce buying those expensive coffees at Starbucks on a daily basis. Yes, I know it's convenient to stop by and get one on your way to work, but being an adult means that sometimes convenience has to be set aside. Yes, I know adulting sucks sometimes, but it is what it is. So when on a budget, make your own batch of coffee at home. Okay? Good. Now, another key factor to success in a body transformation, budget or no budget, will be to cook more of your own food. This is essential so that you have more control over what goes on your plate. And remember that cooking healthy food doesn't have to be complicated. Simplicity will help keep you consistent. Making simple meals will make you want to cook more often, and they will have less ingredients, which will lower the cost. Don't think you have to make a 5-course meal. That's not necessary. Simple meals can be a better option, and trust me, simple doesn't mean it won't be delicious. So learn to enjoy the process of cooking by playing music or doing whatever it will take to get you comfortable with cooking, so that you get better and faster with every week. I gotta say that cooking is almost fun for me. Almost. I get in the zone and try to be as efficient with my time as possible. I'm never not doing something. For example, if I just chop some veggies to saute in butter, then while they are cooking, I'm cleaning up. Cleaning as you go helps reduce the overall time spent in the kitchen. Also, when cooking, try to make enough food for more than one meal. This way you have leftovers to take to work the next day. Back when I had my office job, I would make sure to cook extra protein, either chicken, beef, pork, or fish, to take to work the following day. And at work, I would just have a big salad and heat up the protein to add it on top. Simple and great when you're on a budget. You see, before I was on a low-carb keto lifestyle, I would go eat out on every lunch break. This was not a smart move. And 1 month, I totaled the cost of eating out every day, and it was a whopping $700. Yup, crazy, right? This was not budget-friendly. Plus, it was making me fatter, which all led down a road to type 2 diabetes. Well, this is no longer the case, thank God. Now, I eat out less often, usually only when I'm out with friends or on a date. But most of the time, I'm cooking my own meals, saving me lots of cash and improving my overall health, since I can choose the oils and ingredients I use to cook. Now, if you do decide to go out to eat, be smart about your choices and what you spend money on. Don't think you need to order an alcoholic beverage. Instead, go for water. I know it's customary to order a drink when eating out. Well, this adds up quickly. I actually have a funny story that happened last weekend. So I went out with the guys for a night out in Santa Monica. I'm in the last year of my 20s, and well, occasionally, I will go out with the guys for some drinks. Remember, we are social creatures that need human interaction. Well, the guys like to go to some higher-end bars in Santa Monica, places that have the best views of the beach. And well, these bars and lounges in Santa Monica charge up to $15 per drink. This makes for an expensive night out. And one of my very close friends, which will remain nameless, gets pretty excited when he goes out. He gets drink after drink, which gets him pretty tipsy, and this makes him extra friendly, and buys rounds for the guys. I know, he's a good friend, right? Well, the next morning, when we all woke up, the first thing he said was, "I don't even want to look at my bank account." Well, he did, and ended up spending over $200 on drinks in just one night. This is not a good idea when you're on a budget. Well, that's why I like to limit myself to only buying 2 drinks. This way, I don't overdo it on the alcohol and also don't break the bank. Now, on another side note, don't think that you need to go to these fancy places to have a good time. Personally, my go-to place for some fun is the outdoors. If I have free time, then you most likely will find me on my favorite beach spots by my house. Nature provides us so much to do and explore, and it's all for free. Soaking up the sun and swimming in the crashing waves of the open ocean always puts a smile on my face. The saying is true, all the best things in life are free. Now let's move on and cover other ways to apply a low-carb keto lifestyle on a budget. And the smart tip is to stop buying all the low-carb snacks that are coming out. I know, bummer, right? Don't get me wrong, I love how more and more companies are seeing the value of providing low-carb keto-friendly snacks. But these snacks are not always smart when you're on a budget. You see, these companies understand that they are providing a huge convenience by making low-carb versions of desserts and bars, so they can price them a bit higher than most of their competitors. Why? Well, because they know people will pay for them. I know I have. A few months back, we found a no-sugar, low-carb bakery that makes the most delicious dark chocolate lava cakes and other pastries, all with low-carb friendly ingredients. You should have seen our faces when we found this store. It was as if we discovered a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Then we saw the prices, and our happiness quickly faded. They were charging over $20 for 4 small pastries. Yes, absurd. Guess what? We bought them. Why? Well, because we were craving it. But it definitely hurt to pay for it. Well, if on a tight budget, it's smart to avoid these pre-made low-carb snacks and stick with real food. Remember, just because it says low-carb on the label doesn't mean it is healthy, nor does it mean you need it in your low-carb keto lifestyle. Also, don't think that you have to shop at high-end stores like Whole Foods, which jokingly some call Whole Paycheck, since it has been known to be very expensive, which supposedly could change now that Amazon has purchased it. Either way, it's smart to do an online search and see if there are any bargain or discount stores that you can buy some everyday items at a cheaper cost. Plus, don't forget to take advantage of sales and coupons. They can add up nicely, and every dollar counts when you're on a budget. It's also smart to shop at local farmers markets and buy produce that is in season. Farmers markets can have cheaper costs, plus it will help support smaller businesses. Another great reason to buy local grown veggies is they usually come with higher micronutrient levels. You see, the issue with buying veggies from large chain grocers is that they can have produce shipped from different countries. Well, this takes time, and the more time that passes from the moment of picking a veggie to eating it will reduce the nutrient density it provides. And farmers markets often provide produce that was picked that day or the day before. Now, one step better than farmers markets are to grow your own veggies. That's right, skip the middleman and do it yourself. You may even find that it is a hobby you enjoy. Now, it's not for everyone. Personally, farming is not my hobby of choice, but others love it. My brother is one of them. He has a full hydroponic system at home where he grows all sorts of veggies. And even though I don't personally like farming my own veggies, I still appreciate the value of doing so. Plus, it seems like veggies just taste better knowing you grew them yourself. Another helpful tip when buying your veggies is to prep and chop them the same day you bought them. You see, one of the reasons vegetables never get used is because some get lazy to spend the time to chop and prep them once they are put away. And so it's smart to chop them all and get that out of the way so that they're ready to cook. Plus, once chopped, you can place them in a bag and freeze them. Freezing your veggies and meat is a great idea, especially when buying in bulk. It has been seen that freezing can retain much of the nutrients, and so using your freezer will help prevent food waste and save you cash in the long run. Also, if you find that frozen vegetables are cheaper than fresh ones, then hey, go for frozen. At home, we sometimes do that and buy frozen blueberries and strawberries since they can be much cheaper. Just make sure they don't include any additional sweeteners, fillers, or weird ingredients. So let's move on to one of the biggest expenses of most diets, and that is protein. Let's learn how to be a smart shopper when it comes to this essential macronutrient. But first, a break to hear from our sponsors. Now, one of the hardest parts about eating healthy is searching the grocery store for all the foods that are actually good for you. Well, now this is no longer a problem thanks to Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online store that makes it easy to get everything you need in one place. Thrive Market offers all the premium natural food brands that you would find at health food stores, but at wholesale prices and in everyday sizes. Think Costco meets Whole Foods, but online. So head over to thrivemarket.com/burnit and get a free 1-month trial, as well as 25% off your first order on top of free shipping. Also, if you want to help support this show, then you can do this by becoming a Burn It Patreon member. This will allow us to keep this show on air, and you even get a copy of 5th Stage Keto when you sign up as a Burn It member. So head to patreon.com/burnit and help support the show you love. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook under Burn It Nutrition to check out some of my progress pictures. And subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already, and even share it with your friend who wants to learn more about a healthy lifestyle in a fun way. Now that we have covered some useful strategies to make a low-carb keto lifestyle budget-friendly, let's go over how we can save some cash on protein. So meat is by far the most expensive item on our list, so finding ways to reduce its cost can be a big help. As we mentioned earlier, buying in bulk can be helpful when on a budget. Well, this too can be applied with your protein. Stock up and freeze your meats until they're ready to cook. People up north in colder regions like Alaska and Canada take this to a whole new level. During hunting season, they go out for long trips where they set up traps and use high-powered rifles to take down giant moose, caribou, and other big game. Hunting for them is a way of survival, since they freeze the meat from these big game animals to sustain them through the winter months. You see, in rural areas like these, some have very, very tight budgets and mainly live off the land, so the practice of freezing meats is essential. Well, you too can apply this strategy to save up some cash before the holiday shopping begins. And so buy in bulk and place the meat in the freezer until you're ready to throw it on the grill. Now, in order to get these meats, we can't really go hunting in our backyard and expect to find a giant moose waiting for us, even though that would be pretty cool. So we have to get it from our local butcher. Approach one of your local butchers and let them know that you're looking to buy larger orders of meat. And he may ask you what type of cuts you want. Well, since we follow a low-carb, high-fat diet, we want fattier cuts of meats. You see, fatty cuts of meats like ribeye steak or New York strip steak, even skirt steak, are better choices since they give us more fat. And remember, fat is not bad. We've let go of that mentality and understand that fat is essential. You can also ask for some pork ribs, some chicken thighs, and drumsticks, all with the skin on it. These cuts of meats are packed with flavor since they have higher levels of fat, and fat is where the real flavor is at. You can get these meats from your butcher and pack them in your freezer. Now, fatty fish like salmon can be pretty pricey, especially when buying them fresh. So maybe consider trying canned salmon or even canned tuna or mackerel. Just make sure these are packed in water, not oil, since most of the time that oil is canola oil, which is no bueno. But for real, canned tuna is a lifesaver when you're on a budget. It's packed with protein, which helps fill you up, and it's super easy to make. I love making tuna lettuce wraps with bacon and cheese. Oh, so good. This really is the best diet. Now, another protein source that is a great option when you're on a budget are organ meats like liver. Liver? Yeah, liver. I know that liver isn't known to be the best tasting of meats, but hear me out. Organ meats like liver have the highest levels of nutrients than any other type of meats. There is a reason why lions in the savannah go straight for the fatty organ meats. Nature has instinctively taught them that fat is the real source of life and nourishment. So let's get our lion's mane on and find ways to include liver into our menu. One way to do this is by getting ground beef, with higher fat percentage of course, and mix in some finely diced liver to make meatballs with. That way you can sneak some of this nutrient-packed organ meats into even the pickiest of eaters, without them even knowing. Well, the fact that many don't like the taste of liver can be beneficial when you're on a tight budget. You see, the lack of demand for liver causes it to drop in cost since no one wants it. Well, now that you're a smarty pants and understand that liver has the highest levels of nutrients, should make you want to ask your butcher for some as well. It's good to understand that flavor shouldn't be the only deciding factor to your nutritional choices. Focus on what it is doing for you, not just the taste alone. Plus, that's where using herbs and spices comes in to help, to give it a mouth-watering flavor. Oh, and butter. Lots of butter. And another strategy you can apply to save money is asking your butcher to let you know if they have any meats that are being placed on sale, because they are coming up on their sell-by date. Now, don't think that coming close to the sell-by date will mean that the meat is bad. This isn't usually the case. The sell-by date is more like a guideline. If the meat looks fine, then simply place it in the freezer until you're ready to eat it. but make sure to write the date so that you know how long it's been in the freezer. Like any meats, once ready to cook, make sure to wash them, and more importantly, make sure to cook them properly, and adding some salt would also be helpful. This is also where a slow cooker can be a huge help, since it can turn the toughest of meats into tender and juicy pulled pork yummers. Well, enough talk about butchers and organ meats. Let's move on to the main source of energy we will use to fuel our bodies on a budget, and that is healthy fats. Knowing where to find good sources of healthy fats is probably the most important part of this lifestyle. Fat really is the ultimate macronutrient. It sustains life, and so learning ways to get it when you're on a budget is great. But there is a but, and that is that out of all things, the fat you use is probably the one thing that you should really try to get top quality options, even if on a budget. Let me explain. The fats we really want to go for, like grass-fed butter from the brand Kerrygold, as well as organic, cold-pressed and virgin coconut oil, MCT oil, and organic and cold-pressed olive oil, only cost a few extra dollars than their regular options, but the difference in quality is huge. So, I personally feel that it's worth paying that bit extra for these products. The few extra dollars is most definitely worth it. For example, the grass-fed butter that Kerrygold makes is leaps and bounds better butter than the regular butter. You see, I hope that by now you understand that margarines and fake imitation butters are terrible for your health. These are not hard healthy fats that we want. We want the real healthy fats like butter. And if you haven't listened to episode 15 that explains this and further, then do yourself a favor and listen to it after this show. So again, certain fats like butter and oils are worth spending the extra cash because you will get quality oils, and the oils you use to cook or drizzle on your food play a huge role in your overall health. For example, MCT oil. This is a coconut oil that has most of the larger chain fats removed to give you the medium chain fats that convert rapidly to ketones and energy. Well, one bottle of this awesome stuff that is MCT oil usually runs around $23 to $25. And when you think about it, that is one of the best $25 that you can spend, since you can add the MCT oil to your morning coffee, smoothies, salads, helping you get more healthy fats into your day, which is essential on this diet. Using MCT every day, I find that a 32-ounce bottle will last me more than a month. That is a $25 purchase that I will make a priority. That is an item that goes on my needs list, since it gives me great value and allows me to perform better. But there are other fats that you can go for cheaper versions. Fat sources like eggs. Yes, I know we all want free-range, omega-3 enriched and pastured eggs. That is ideal. Of course, they do come with higher nutrients and better omega-3 to 6 ratios. All great things. But again, this show is about being on a budget, a tight budget. And well, the cost is drastically different between regular eggs versus the upgraded kind. So when the bills gotta be paid, then going for the regular kind will just have to do. Again, if one leaves behind the sugar-packed breakfast cereals and chooses real eggs, organic or not, is a big step forward in the right direction. And buying the lower cost options allows one to buy more of them. And honestly, there is no better food to eat when on a budget than eggs. They are a complete protein source, a great source of healthy fats, and super filling and easy to make. I have eggs all the time. I have bacon and eggs with chorizo and a bed of spinach very often. Again, simplicity leads to sustainability. Don't overcomplicate things when they don't have to be. Talking about breakfast foods, we can't forget about bacon. We in the low-carb community understand that bacon is life. Bacon is a great option, so how can we get this on a budget? Well, like some of the other items, buy it in bulk. Also, it could be a good idea to look for the odds and ends of bacon. The odds and ends of bacon are the end pieces that can't be cut into the longer slices most people like. They are just as good and much less than the regular ones. Another bacon tip is to save that leftover bacon grease. To do this, simply strain the grease into a coffee cup after you have crisped your bacon. That way you can use this grease to saute veggies. Honestly, if your kids don't like to eat their broccoli, then just saute it with leftover bacon grease, and you better believe they will love it. And if they don't, then something is wrong, and they're probably alien imposters. But really, bacon makes everything better. Another low-carb keto favorite is cheese. So how do we buy cheese on a budget? Well, first, don't buy that fancy gourmet cheese. Go for the ones that are on sale. And definitely don't get the pre-shredded kind. Instead, go for the bigger blocks of cheese that you have to shred yourself. These are much cheaper, and I have found that they even taste better. How about nuts? Well, these are also some of the most expensive items on a low-carb menu. So the obvious choice is to cut back on your nuts. But if your inner chipmunk is craving them, then buy them in bulk. I found some on Thrive Market that were at a great deal. But if times are really tough, then try the dollar store. They sometimes have nuts for crazy cheap deals. The last healthy fats that we want are a bit tricky to get on a budget, and that is avocados. Let's be honest, they are getting more and more expensive, and well, there isn't much to do about it. They are freaking awesome, and they are in high demand, so they are pricey. And so the best option would be to grow your own. I once heard someone say, "I don't want to be filthy rich. I just want to make enough money where I don't have to think twice about getting guacamole when I go to Chipotle." You know how they always say that guac is extra? And well, when you're on a tight budget, that extra cost becomes a big decision. Yeah, I know, the struggle is real. So let's now go over the last two key factors to apply a keto lifestyle on a budget. So now that we have covered the importance of planning ahead with a list and using cash to pay to avoid impulse buying, and now that we have covered the importance of cooking at home and finding the best deals in our proteins and fats, we need to cover a topic that many should consider when the budget is very tight. And that is spending on certain special ingredients needed to make higher carb replica foods. Let me explain. So we all know that finding ways to make certain comfort foods like keto breads, pizzas, and desserts is very helpful to make this into a long-term lifestyle. Having these options available is great to keep us on track when we are craving pizzas or breads. But when the bills are making you nervous and it's time to budget down, then spending on the ingredients like almond and coconut flour can add up quickly. So in times like these, it's probably best to set these recipes aside and stick to foods that are simple and filling. But if you're like my family who love to bake, then just make the effort to find great deals. For example, Thrive Market has awesome prices on their almond flour, as well as plenty of other baking essentials. Again, they're awesome, so head over to thrivemarket.com/burnit for your free 30-day trial. This leads us to the most powerful weapon to have in your arsenal when on a budget. This next strategy, on its own, can save you thousands of dollars, and that is learning to apply intermittent fasting. Yes, that's right. Learning the practice of fasting intermittently has allowed me to save thousands while at the same time improving my long-term health and freeing up some much-needed time in the mornings. Now, just like all things, there are right and wrong ways to apply intermittent fasting, also called IF for short. For the best results, you want to be fat adapted so that your body learns how to use the fat on your body as energy so that you can apply fasting effortlessly. And if you want to learn the most effective methods to apply IF for health and weight loss, then get your copy of the audiobook Fit Stage Keto. This will give you everything I use to drop 60 pounds of pure fat and teach you how to reach the stage where you can apply IF to see the biggest changes in body composition. We have now reached the segment of the show where we drop the science to find ways to make delicious recipes. So what's on the menu? Well, today, we are doing something different. Instead of making a low-carb dish, we are taking a class trip to the grocery store to learn some of the low-carb keto essentials that should always be on your grocery list. So let's all pack into the company minivan and head to the store. Okay, class, here we are. List on hand, kids at home, and focused, ready to get what we need. No impulse buys, just the essentials. So first, let's start with the veggies. Yes, keto is not all about bacon, cheese, and steaks. No, sir. We need the micronutrients and fiber in veggies. So the essential veggies to get on a low-carb keto lifestyle are broccoli, spinach, and cauliflower. These three veggies provide the body with fiber and essential micronutrients like magnesium, which is essential for a high-functioning metabolism. Plus, cauliflower really is the jack of all trades on a low-carb diet. I never really appreciated cauliflower until I went keto and wanted to make cauliflower rice or cauliflower mash. You see, it helps give us that texture we like from starchier veggies. So we got spinach, we got broccoli, we have cauliflower. What's next on the list? We have our proteins. Okay, so we want to find cuts of meats with higher fats like skirt steak, ribeye, pork ribs, or chicken thighs and drumsticks. We don't want chicken breast since that has almost no fat, which is why the uninformed who still think fat is bad like to go for it. Well, us smarty pants can go for these options because we know they're good for us. Next on the list is fats. Let's get ourselves some eggs, some bacon, some cheese, avocado, and also the items where we don't want to cut corners on. That is our butter and oils like MCT oil, coconut oil, and olive oil. Alright, what's next? Ah yes, pink Himalayan sea salt. Quality salt is hugely important and also worth spending to get the good stuff. So guys, if we ended the class trip here with just these items, I would call it a win. But if we still have some extra cash, then let's find ourselves some low sugar yogurt, like the brand Carb Master from Kroger. This is some of the lowest sugar yogurt I've found, and at 10 for $5, they are a great deal. We can also get ourselves some sugar-free Jell-O. Both of these are perfect snacks when you're on a budget. What else should we get? Ah yes, a few herbs and spices like cayenne pepper, garlic powder, and oregano. These will help bring flavor into our meals. And class, that's pretty much all we need to sustain us. These are the bare essentials on a keto lifestyle. So let's pull out our cash and coupons and see if we stayed under budget. We now reach the end of episode 22 of the Burn It Nutrition podcast. I hope you got some key takeaways from this episode. My goal with this show was to encourage those of us who think that eating healthy and switching to a low-carb lifestyle is too expensive. That is far from the truth. In actuality, it's too expensive to not eat healthy. You see, years of neglecting your nutrition and choosing to save a buck or two on cheap garbage will lead to huge medical bills down the road. So in a way, it comes down to, do you want to save money now by eating cheap junk food and pay for it later when the diseases of the standard American diet come along, like type 2 diabetes? Or would you rather put fitness and nutrition as a priority in your life today and reach your later years feeling and looking better than the majority of the population? Well, guys, the best part is that you don't have to be filthy rich to be healthy. Again, I hope this show gave you a better understanding on how to apply a healthy, low-carb keto lifestyle even if you're under a very tight budget. And lastly, what's the point of having all the money in the world if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it? Personally, I would choose health over wealth any day, and I really feel that the methods in 5th stage keto have helped me improve my life. I have lost over 75 pounds now, and I have gained a whole new chance at life. I healed my key health markers like inflammation and regulated my blood sugar. I improved my mood and just feel like a whole new person. And I am not alone. There are people all over the world that have taken on the challenge to reach 5th stage keto and are applying this method to reach their body transformation. So if you want to learn everything you need to know, then head to burnitnutrition.com to get your audiobook that also includes the 120-page ebook with all the workouts and recipes. I really hope you found value in the work I put into the Burn It Nutrition podcast. I try to give my listeners everything they need to know about a topic. And if you have been helped by this show, then why not leave me a quick review on iTunes? This helps others find the show and helps me get better. And the review of the week is from Dab Earhorn, and he gave us a 5-star rating and wrote, "Great podcast to help succeed with my keto diet. This podcast, in combination with the ebook from Burn It Nutrition, has been very helpful with my success on my keto diet so far. I have been on a keto diet for 5 months and now have gone from 205 pounds down to 190. I've lost 2 inches of fat on my waistline and 2 inches on my chest so far. I am a 5'7" male, so 190 is still not near my goal. But now that I have changed my lifestyle, including adding in strength training, I feel confident that I will successfully get to my healthy weight goal." Wow, can we take a moment to applaud him? Not just for his progress, but for his shift in mentality and understanding that weight loss and health do not come from a temporary diet, but from switching to a long-term healthy lifestyle. Seriously, that's awesome. Well, if you guys want to take a quick moment and write a review, the link to do so is in the show notes. Or just search for the Burn It Nutrition podcast on iTunes and leave us a rating and review. Also, don't forget to share this episode with anyone who thinks eating healthy is too expensive, or just wants to learn ways to apply keto on a budget. Well, I hope you join us on the next episode, the vibe's always better when you're around. Now brace yourself, because it's time to let it burn.